Welcome. Everyone but me. Welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, the vaccinated and naturally raised indeed. You're listening to the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live from the fabulously fluoridated capital of Auckland, New Zealand, the island-chained nation in the sunny slave South Pacific, fluoridated and Fukushima irradiated, and everybody has a part-time job as an incandescent light bulb on behalf of the Prime Minister John Key, the Federal Reserve Banker, to help the economy. My very special guest today, guests plural, Katherine Buckalew and her co-host Rand Porter. Katherine, welcome to the program.
Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Well, generally fabulous.
Of course you are. Mm-hmm. I love that song. That opening song is so you. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's a New Zealand band called Clap Clap Riot, and originally I thought it might have been about venereal diseases or something, but apparently not.
I can see where you think that.
Yeah. and I hope nobody else thinks what I'm thinking at this moment too, because this is a family show. And also, Rand, welcome to the program too.
Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
Yeah, same response. Somewhat fabulous.
Clean and clear, right?
Yeah. Well, I just got myself my new Facebook profile picture. You know the Obama picture during the 2008 election, how they had him done in the white and the red and the blue kind of shadowed type thing?
Sure.
Sure. And he had the little O with the little American flag on it kind of thing, Obama. Well, I've got one of me, and it says, it's got Vinnie Eastwood there, right, and it says expose scumbaggery, and the little O is the same as the Obama O. I was thinking,
I can dig it.
Oh yeah,
I can dig it.
I'll send you the image. And the whole idea is basically you got to make fun of the New World Order at every turn. And also, more to the point, we're all part of the New World Order now, whether we like it or not. So it means we also have to make fun of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm here, Vinny. My girlfriend Liza thought that we'd have fun for a couple hours, bring some truth, and have some fun doing it.
Mm-hmm, indeed. Well, why don't you tell us then a little bit about, Katherine, you first, who you are and what it is you do.
Well, actually, I'm just a regular person with a passion for the truth, honestly. A person who synchronistic life situations have brought me to where I am right now, actually. Just a kid who grew up in Arden, Delaware. It's a musician, artist, beatnik kind of community where the kids ran free and they were free to be who they were and didn't have to check in with their parents, and they still were safe. And that's what I think that we need to go back to now, because it was a cool way to grow up in the 70s. Actually, I grew up in the exact same house that Biden did when he was younger, Joe Biden, on Harvey Road. And I met him a few times. He actually saved my aunt when a purse snatcher stole her purse back in the day. He ran after the guy and got her purse back. He knew my father. He sent us Christmas cards and a condolence card when my father passed away.
It's too bad he doesn't run out of after the Federal Reserve bankers that steal everybody's purse.
Yes, that was my next thing. He needs to come correct and stop, allowing himself to be handled. Because, at one time he was a good guy who cared about the bigger picture. And it's really sad that he lost his nerve. And I wrote him, tried to remind him of that, and haven't heard a peep. But I'm not really surprised about that either. I hope he does. And also, I was thinking to myself, I'm not used to speaking about myself, Vinny, so bear with me. My story to me is not that exciting, but I was trying to think about how it was that I came to be here and what events led me up to this. And it started at a very young age when I was born a person. I was not born a person who you would think would be a person who'd be publicly speaking today. I used to stutter as a child, had speech therapy once a week in school for a few years. It showed me a lot of things. It showed me empathy, how to stick up for myself, and that I'm very grateful for that to this day, because it showed me a lot of important lessons early on in life. One being, empathy for other people. When I was younger, I came home, and it may sound cold, but I came home to my father and said, so and so is picking on me for stuttering, Dad. And my father said, don't come crying to me about it. Go do something about it. So that's what I did. I was very nervous and timid, but kids on the school bus making fun. I'll meet you on the playground after school. Let's duke this out. And that's basically what happened. I had no choice but to stick up for myself. And I did. And I was the underdog. And as soon as that punch got heard around the neighborhood, because it connected pretty darn good, Vinny, all the kids that weren't on my side ran over to my side. And it made me feel very triumphant as a person, but it also made me very sad at how much sheep people were, how they just wanted to be on the winning team. So I learned lessons very early in life that I did not like bullies. By the same token, I'm very grateful because it showed me to be empathic and not to take anybody for granted and make fun of other people. And it just snowballed from there. I mean, I was involved in student government very early and civic activities very early in life. I spoke at the Dover House of Representatives in Dover, Delaware. That's where the representatives for the state meet at the age of 16, about the importance of extracurricular activities and how important funding was. I was the Delaware DECA state president of every high school in the state of Delaware and represented us at national conferences and gave speeches. On from there, I was class president a couple years, student council vice president, most popular, most talented, believe it or not, but I wasn't the typical cheerleader who got most popular because I was nice to everybody. That's why I got most popular, not the stereotypical most popular chick, and I'm grateful for that as well. Learn to speak up for what's right very early in life, and my daughter came home, just to try to wrap it up a little bit. My daughter came home from school one time, and when she was grade 2 or something, and said the kids at school were saying that it was the end of the world, and I was worried. I wanted to give her answers. I wanted to be able to give her answers. So I did what any other normal person would do. I went to YouTube University and started reading about everything, and became engrossed with everything, and on like a truth crusade, if you will. Came across a video by I think it was Project Camelot, and it was with Duncan O'Finian and Dave Corso about MK Ultra, and I was just floored to hear what they do to children and people to this day, and it broke my heart, and it gave me the extra push, if you will, to come into the truth arena and be where I am today, because I want answers. I want to be able to give people answers, and it's very important to me. It's very important for us too, as Truth Connections, to uncover the truth as best as we can. We certainly don't take it lightly, Vinny. I'm starting to stutter a little bit because I'm a little nervous, so you have to forgive me. It comes out that way sometimes.
Well, I think, Katherine, because you've been empathetic with so many other people your whole life, that you've lost that part of you that is supposed to be a little bit shameless and just more forthcoming on batting up for yourself kind of thing, and you're trying to sort of accommodate others, rather than just try and be yourself and have a good time and stuff like that. So this, just remember, there's no bar that you have to set here. There's no expectation of you. And we're just, basically, I'd like you to consider this, that you're on holiday on a tropical island in the sun, cocktail in your hand, and we're sitting on a beach having a conversation about whatever we feel like.
That sounds cool with me.
Do you feel better?
Yes, absolutely. But I do. I feel really responsible for the message and the information that gets out to the public. And we don't take it lightly because we know it's important, and we want to make sure we do a good job and be humble and be discerning about the information that we do bring to the public. It's very important.
Okay, well, now we know who you are, Katherine, and actually I've just become a lot more familiar with you in the last few minutes, to tell you the truth. Now, Rand, what about you? Would you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Well, I actually was born and raised till the age of 5 in a haunted house in Connecticut. So I kind of knew from a very early age that there was a lot of things in the world that weren't quite black and white, that weren't being defined by the status quo. So it kind of gave me a different perspective than most. And then from the age of 5, I moved to Woodstock, New York, land of the hippies. So a whole new perspective yet. And then so that put me close to New York City. So I was actually supposed to be in New York City on 9/11. So that's actually a topic that's kind of something that's kind of dear to me. I really did a lot of research on that and try to understand what really happened that day. And I had friends who had family and relatives who were in the towers that day. So it kind of hit close to home. And it also started me on my journey of trying to understand what's behind the curtain of Oz. So I started independently researching and studying pyramid power. I mean, I started out with 9/11, but when I realized that there was so much out there, I started studying pyramid power and then Tesla, and then tachyon energy, scalar energy, ethereal energies. I really became a proponent of free energy. And then I found Facebook. And lo and behold, there was this whole amazing media to find all these other people who found information and questioned information, and we could talk amongst ourselves and figure out what's really going on, where we've been lied to, and where the truth lies. So I really dove in head first, right down the rabbit hole, the Stargate, or whatever we call it these days. And of course, that eventually led me to meet Katherine through a truth and awareness page that I admin, that she was actually admin as well. So we worked on that together. And then Kathy and Tamara, Natava Dad, decided to start the Truth Connections radio show, and I was asked to join that, and honored to be able to join it because the people I've met since then have just been amazing. My knowledge base has just grown exponentially because of all the amazing guests we've had, and just a floodgate of knowledge that's opened up since then. It's been quite a journey indeed. I'm a Reiki master, Qigong healer, and forms instructor. Do healing. So I also see it from the spiritual energetic side. I think everybody needs to own their own energy, and when we do, I think the world's going to really be a different place. So I'm really big on that, as well as recognizing our energies and coming together as a group and combining those energies, because I think the powers that be, that's their biggest fear. We figure out how much power we really have as individuals, but together as a group. And when we start uniting by sharing information and understanding what's been wrong and how to make it right, things are going to really start to change. And your show and our show are, they're definitely huge cogs in that wheel of creating change.
Now, truth.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Basically, this show, as I mentioned before, is just a place for people like yourselves who are radio show hosts, politicians, business people, anybody like that who understands what the New World Order is and is taking steps to stop it in its tracks, kind of thing. I like to offer, this place is a little bit of a holiday, if you will, from the harsh reality of it. Which is why there's a lot of humour on the show, although that's not the main composite of it. Usually it's the drastically terrifying information that we're exposed to with a little bit of comic relief so that you know what's going on, but you don't fear what's going on.
Absolutely, Vinny. I'm totally with you on that. You have to have some humor in it, or it will just make you batty.
Yeah, you got to lighten it up. If it's too dry, people are gonna, they can't consume it. You gotta make it a little bit funny.
Well, go ahead, Vinny.
It also occurs to me, if you wanted to find comedy in the truth movement on a radio show, can you name me anywhere else you can go except the Vinny Eastwood Show?
Of course not, Vinny. You're the most fabulous one of all.
You got a corner on the market.
No, I see. And I don't know. Maybe my brain's wired differently to people. I'm just permanently on the sunny side.
Absolutely. If you look up fabulous in the dictionary, there's a picture of Vinny Eastwood right there.
Yeah. I wish you could actually look up scumbaggery in the dictionary and see a picture of Vinny Eastwood there.
No, you don't.
Too much.
Yeah. But,
I have to keep muting because it makes me laugh.
yeah.
Laughing's good.
It is. It releases the what is it? It's an endorphin production thing. And what I've noticed is that smiling, happiness, a nice tone in your voice, or a laugh, or a joke, or something of that nature, although it doesn't require you any necessarily energy or power to give somebody a smile. You actually lose less muscles in your mouth than when you frown, incidentally. But not only that, but it's an infectious thing. You know, that's how people can get infected with a cackle that will spread through everything like an engineered virus. And sure enough, it turns out that being happy reduces your stress. And if you're really stressed, it means you get cancer and stuff like that. So this is the show that the Cancer Society should sponsor. Huh? Have a few cackles. Stop getting cancer. We'll be right back after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models: a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by theVinnieEastwoodShow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinnie Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinnie is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinnie supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnieeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Booking it down. It is Schwarzenegger sense of the word. On AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Welcome back also to my very special guests, Katherine Buckalew and Rand Porter, host and co-host of Truth Connections. And if you go and search up on your Facebook, you will be able to search for Truth Connections, and they have a little Facebook group in there that is actually quite active. And having a Facebook group that actually remains active and doesn't just kind of disappear into one person's long list of Facebook groups that they belong to and never look at is actually quite a challenge. So guys, welcome back. And Katherine, you wanted to
Thank you, Vinny.
expand a little bit more on your background as well during this segment.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say, to anyone, please feel free to join our Facebook page called Truth Connections. We don't mass add people there. Everyone who's been there and who is there has come on their own free will, and I think that's what makes the difference, Vinny. We don't allow people just to add everybody on their friends list, because that makes for trolls, and it makes for people who don't want to communicate with other people. And we want everybody who's there to want to be there. So if you really want to know the truth, we have a lot of great posts there. There's a lot of stuff to learn. A lot of people who have been on our shows also post there for their updates and whatnot. So please feel free to join. Also, our truthconnections.wordpress.com website is available for anyone who would like to check it. Our upcoming guest schedule, our past guest schedule, the archives, any book that has ever been written by one of our guests is there with a link to purchase it. Some of the stuff's free, some of it's not. But we do that for our guests, so the information is always there, tagged to our site. So if you watch a show a year from now, you can go to that information and find their books if you're interested. Also, we have just added, Tamara actually has just added, she does a great job with the website, by the way. We love Tamara. She's the best. She completes us, as a professional. I'll get into that a little bit later. But she just added a documentary watching website that has a lot of truth or documentaries, a vast cornucopia of information and knowledge. But Tamara and Rand and myself, I really want to say that I feel like this has come together in such a divinely guided sort of way, and not sounding hokey about it or anything, but we really do complete each other, Rand and I have a great dynamic live. Tamara, does all the stuff that makes us look good and sound good in the background, and we all just do it without even having to communicate a lot about it. It just seems to work, and we're very grateful that we resonate with so many people, because we've only been doing this since January, Vinny, and I'm Project Camelot. We are not, and we're not trying to be Project Camelot, but we got about 100,000 hits from all of our various websites so far, and we're very grateful for that, and we're very grateful for the insanely outrageous. I'm amazed still when I look at our guest list and the upcoming guest list. I'm very honored that they trust us with our truth, and I totally believe that if you do the right thing, the right people will resonate with you, and good things will happen. We're very grateful that so many people trust us. So many big name people that most radio show guests would dream to talk to trust us with their truth. So I want to set a shout out to them for gracing us with their presence and helping everyone with what the truth really is. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to, we have about 10 admins on our page who help out behind the scenes as well, and with welcoming new members. And, there's not a page on the website, I can say this, I don't like being cocky, but there's not one page on Facebook's Facebook's group pages that gets welcomed by so many people. I have personally welcomed almost 600 people on that page by myself with a welcome and a heart, and a lot of our other members go right behind me and welcome that person. So we're very grateful for that, and there's not many places that you join on Facebook that you get so much love right from Jump Street, and people that are happy to see you there and happy to share. But to go into a little bit more of my truth, everyone speaks of an awakening. And I like to think that I was awake most of my life, because I've always believed in the paranormal and believed in ETs and UFOs and Bigfoot and everything nobody else believes in, has always just seemed like a certainty to me. I don't need a lot of proof. It's like a knowing sort of thing, I've had my whole life. And but everyone speaks of an awakening that they've had. And as I say, I've pretty much always been awake my whole life and not easily fooled. But the main thing that kicked my awake door open was when I was waiting tables in Miami. I worked at some pretty nice restaurants and waited on some famous people, that kind of caliber of restaurant. My two favorites, several famous people, but my two favorites I could mention one was Eric Clapton and one was Muhammad Ali. So that was pretty cool. Muhammad Ali told me I looked like his future ex-wife. It was very funny. And Eric Clapton said I was charming and lovely, so that was very cool too. But to get back to the point, a bunch of hotshot brokers used to come in the restaurant and ask for me. They liked me. They liked my attitude. They liked my banter. They liked that I wasn't intimidated by them and their power and their money. And they pretty much headhunted me to become a broker. And after some discussion, I was a waitress off and on, along with many other jobs my whole life. But I was a waitress off and on for about 20 years. And let me tell you, that's a lost art form, Vinny, to anticipate what somebody needs before they even know they need it. And I think that's what those guys liked about me, that I was on the ball and I didn't pull any punches and I didn't let them intimidate me. But I did that off and on while waiting or trying to be a singer or an actress or what have you. And they finally convinced me to go along and be a broker with them. It opened my eyes up to a whole new world. They pretty much sold me on the pipe dream at first that, you're a lock, you're going to be a killer. And I was a lock. I was a killer. I raised $2.8 million my first 6 months out of the box. I had clients like Sherwood Schwartz, the writer of Gilligan's Island and Brady Bunch, as my client. But the problem was that I wouldn't lie. I would not sell their penny stock and flip a good stock that was making money into something that was selling for $3 that I knew was going to go down to 75 cents in a couple of weeks. And they didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to do that, and I refused to do that. So basically, one time when I was going to the ladies' room, they grabbed my client book and said, quote unquote, "You're too honest to be here. We love you. You're insane at raising money on the phone, and you're great at it, but you basically are too honest to be here. You won't do what we want you to do." I've been snared at and and I wasn't just any broker, Vinny. I had an investment banking license. It's a Series 7 and a Series 63. It's one of the third hardest tests the government issues. Just one part of that test was a 6-hour federal exam where I was videotaped the whole time I was taking it. My fingerprint was my identification. That's all I was allowed to bring in there was my fingerprint, paper, and pencil that they gave me. That's how it was. And that was quite a feat myself to prove to myself that I could do, since I just had a high school education. Believe it or not, you don't need to be a college graduate to be an investment banker or a broker. All you have to do is want to do it and not have a criminal record, and they'll let you do it. But one day I was working, and just to give you an example, and I was calling Hawaii late at night. When I was a new broker, I worked 12, 14-hour days all the time on the phone, calling people, pacing, just like the movies you see, Boiler Room or places like that. And I was the only one left, and my manager was in his office that was like a fishbowl kind of thing. And there's a man sitting in his office. I couldn't see who it was, but he paged me. He said, "Kathy, can you come in here when you're done?" I said, "Sure, I'll be in there when I get off the phone." I walked in that room. Who was sitting there in that chair with the envelope in his hand? Jeb Bush. No one was with him. I guess maybe they were outside of the office because they didn't want him to be privy to what he was doing. But I'm sorry, Jeb Bush would not come in there for any other reason other than to pick up a check or to drop off some money to manipulate somehow, And basically, I was only called in there as eye candy for him, and I read I read the whole scenario that was going on right when it was going on. It pretty much was offered on a silver platter to Jeb Bush, and I just looked at him and said, "Very nice to meet you. I have some clients to call. Have a great night," and totally blew him off and walked out the door, because I was like, "I'm not going on this trip with you boys. I don't think so," And just to give you another example, I don't know if you ever heard of Steve Madden Shoes. It's a company. I think it's called Shoe on the stock exchange, or I think it's on NASDAQ maybe. I think it's 4 symbols.
Is that what they do after they expand all your money into derivatives and then lose it? They just shoo away?
Go spend, I was not an asset to them, Vinny. I wouldn't sleep with them. I wouldn't go to strip clubs with them. I was, I've been called a lesbian in the boardroom, and anybody knows me knows I'm not a lesbian, because I wouldn't go out with these guys who had made $500,000 to a million or more a year.
Oh yay! This is what I need: a cocaine snorting egotistical sociopath on my arm.
Exactly. I was just like, I'm not going there with either of you guys. So I didn't play ball on their ball field, so they didn't want me on their ball field. Although they liked me and they respected me for what I did, they knew I wasn't. I could not be turned, if you will, because I had integrity and honesty, and I wasn't going to fall for it. And it really showed me, Vinny, after seeing that this Steve Madden has that company Shoe that's traded on the exchange, and his brother John Madden, and I'll say names because I don't care, was the owner of the investment banking firm, and subsequently, the guy who owned the shoe company, who was his brother that owned the firm, went to jail for securities fraud while his brother still played market maker for his stock and made him rich while he was in jail. So, I mean, you see so many things that go on. I've been in due diligence meetings because everybody knows when you have an initial public offering before it goes public, you have to have a due diligence meeting. And, I'm sitting there with my list of questions, and it was like the mob. They were looking at me like, little girl, shut your mouth. You're not allowed to ask questions. So that just spoke volumes to me.
So they were like, don't you ever talk to me about my business.
Yes, just sit there. We have to go through this for the motions, but you're not allowed to ask questions. How dare you question these men? How dare you, little girl? That kind of thing.
You're in the presence of a god, and you're opening your mouth.
Exactly. And it broke my heart because, after I passed that test, I can't even tell you how hard it was, Vinny. I didn't know what a yield at a bank was when I walked in that firm. I mean, I'm a high school graduate. I was an art student. I was a theater person. I'm not stupid, but I didn't, I was not a mathematician or an economics major or anything. It took me a long time to pass that test and a lot of hard work. And it showed me one very good thing, two very good things, actually. It woke me up, and it showed me that I could have been a doctor if I wanted to be, because the test was that hard, and it showed me that I can believe in myself a lot more than I ever thought was possible. The human mind and the human determination is a powerful thing. And you could do a lot of things if you truly want to bad enough. But that is the door that kicked open my awakeness, if you will, that, things are not as what they seem. The market is all a bunch of crap. They joke about it saying it's legalized gambling. I think the derivatives market needs to get thrown away. The options market needs to get thrown away. It's too easy for them to money if they want to, just by playing games with manipulation. It's just wrong. And along with a laundry list of other things that need to go away, that I'll give you guys a chance to talk for a minute. That is what woke me up the rest of the way, becoming a broker. I was like, this is not Kansas anymore.
You saw it from the inside out.
Absolutely.
Behind the curtain.
I am. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I've always seen that activists and people who kind of get into this movement usually get into it for two reasons. Either one, they were raised in a way that tells them to act in an honest, ethical fashion and not back down when they're challenged and that kind of thing. So it's inevitable in a way that they'll reach these conclusions that we have. And the other side of it is you become very successful in the professional world in some capacity that is in fact dominated by the New World Order, and sooner or later you get basically really badly treated or shafted or in some way by them, and you spend the rest of your life trying to it's not vengeance, it's justice.
Yes, justice. I hate bullies. And if you do not play the way they want you to play in their ball field, you will not play. I don't care how good you are or how talented you are in anything. If you don't play by their rules, the Illuminati will kick you out of there, period. The end. And that is the one thing that broke my heart about it, because I worked very hard to try to, change my life and to be financially free. Basically.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. It's funny though, no matter how hard you try to be financially free and to change your life, the thing that occurs to you most often is that it can be taken away from you instantly by people whose speciality it is to control and destroy life. We'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. We're speaking with Katherine Buckalew and her co-host Rand Porter from Truth Connections. Back in a moment.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, The New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show that's all about forced inoculations. It's the Vinnie Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com and incidentally the VinnieEastwoodShow.com. You can join us in the chat room there if you like, and also we'll be opening up the conference room for callers in the second hour. So if you want to call in after this segment, if you want to speak with Katherine or and have a little jive, go for your life. So welcome back, Katherine and Rand, and you kind of commented over the break that you kind of don't normally talk about yourself, and this is what I like this is what I like personally doing, going on other people's radio shows, is that it's so much easier to tell your own story because you don't need to research the facts, you don't have to back it up with evidence or anything like that, because it's your story, you lived it. Anybody wants to question it, they're going to have to come up with some contrary evidence. So the pressure is taken off you to a large degree.
They can look me up at the Securities Exchange Commission. My record's clean if they want.
Yeah. But also it helps the audience, I believe, get to know you just as I am, and so many different guests that we have on the show who have such amazing backstories and how we all come to the truth in our own way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All part of our processes.
Yeah. And so you've brought a lot of interesting history and talent, and it makes for good radio.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And Vinny, we're not here to knock other shows off of the pedestal. That's not what we're here for. You as of all people know that we welcome anybody else with a show to come to Truth Connections, join, and post their show on there that day if they want to, or their archives. It's all about the collective truth to us, and everybody's got a little piece of it. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be, the big man or woman on the hill here. And honestly, I don't really see us doing this much more than about 6 more months or so. Because you of all people know that it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of studying, and it's a lot of, stuff that takes us away from our families and our friends and our children and lives in general. And, we are here totally organically to help people for the shift and to feed them the information that they might not hear other places. And when shift happens, we're out of here. I honestly hope we don't have to do this much more than 6 other months, because I'd much rather go back to singing, playing, and making art and having fun with my friends and family, as I'm sure you as well.
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to be a Hollywood film director and live the big lifestyle and have the big house and the nice car and have all these connections and go out to award ceremonies and stuff like that. Or at least that was my goal from a very young age. I think maybe about the age of 11. That's what I figured I wanted to do. Is I wanted to be in the entertainment industry and all that kind of stuff. After getting arrested and having your entire world collapse on you and losing every single friend that you have and realizing that everything is not as it seems, it didn't matter what I wanted to be in the past, because my destiny changed.
Yes, it's really not fair. A man or a woman makes one mistake and they're scarred for life, especially these kids who are 18, get caught with some weed or caught on violation of probation for not paying a ticket or something like that. Their lives are ruined. They can't even get a regular job, and then they wonder why people are on the streets selling drugs and robbing houses and getting addicted to drugs, because they're hopeless. They have no more hope left. What are these people supposed to do? You're crushing people's souls and you're crushing their hope by, putting them in jail for a stupid marijuana charge that God made. The last time I checked, God made that. Nobody should be in jail for it. It's just ridiculous to me. But that's just one example, for the way the system is not fair. I really feel for some of these people who get put away on something that really they shouldn't have been put away for. Maybe they did something wrong, but they shouldn't have been put away that long, and they shouldn't have their whole lives ruined because of it. It's just not fair. The legal system is a money-making business in every way. Jurisdiction, the housing, the hospitality for it, everything. The gatekeepers when people get released from jail, everything. It's just all a big scam. And I also realized how
jails, so.
Yeah, I personally realized
Big
myself how unfair the legal system was when I had to go to court for my daughter's custody. There was a situation where the judge went to college with my ex's lawyer, and I didn't have a leg to stand on. And I'll tell you one other story, Vinny. My father used to be. My father was a 32nd degree Mason, and he was also district governor for the Lions Club, and also a lifelong Eagle Scout. He was one of the good guys, And one time my sister got in trouble. She got in a little bit more trouble than I, and she will admit it. I didn't really get in that much trouble when I was younger, but he had to take her to court one time, and she just told me the story. I was like, no, he didn't do that. That's insane. My father showed up in court with her, and was standing right by her side. And as soon as the judge was trying to come down on her, he took his little Masonic medallion out of his jacket and showed it promptly outside of his coat jacket, and the judge changed his tone on my sister. How amazing is that? He showed his Masonic colors. This pendant he was wearing, it was a pretty big pendant. He pulled it out, and the judge changed his tone. The legal system is messed up. The electoral system is messed up. The financial system is messed up. The food system is messed up. Why doesn't everybody else see this? It drives me crazy. And I love your opening song, "Everyone's Asleep." That cracks me up. Because you feel like, I'm sure a lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends on my Facebook page I've known since I was a little kid. Even that guy that I got in a fight with as a child and schooled is my friend on my Facebook page to this day, And I'm sure a lot of my friends think that I'm a little wacky, and my family might think I'm a little wacky, but that's okay. I know that we are collectively, all of us, affecting them just by being around them and aiding consciousness to shift.
Yeah.
So it's pretty groovy to be here right now at this moment and make a difference. It really is. It's an honorable place to be.
So many people just stop themselves from participating in the conversation, right? It's just like, oh, maybe my opinion isn't worth this, or maybe like if you see people around you that are drinking aspartame and you don't say anything, if you see people around you that are doing, I don't know, me for example. You know how they've got bisphenol A, BPA, and all the major inks and stuff like that they print out all your receipts whenever you go buy something. So now pretty much every time I buy something and the person's grabbing out the receipt, I go, hey man, be careful with those receipts, eh? Try not to touch them on the ink there. Just touch them by the paper, because all the printers have got this ink called BPA in it. This ink with BPA in it that gives women breast cancer and makes men sterile. Okay, so try and if you're doing that, just don't touch it. And the conclusion that I've reached is that person would have never, in a million years, been exposed to that information had I not just decided, being there in the moment when it was relevant, say, hey, here's some information. Now that may or may not wake them up. They may or may not believe it. But I gave them a piece of information that they would otherwise never have received. So I've increased the possibility that they would wake up ad infinitum.
Absolutely. You should hear me when I go to the social services office. I give them a schooling about Occupy and about everything, and about how, everything's not the way they think it is. And, some of them look at me like I have three heads. But I guarantee you, they're being affected by you, Rand, everybody who's involved in spreading the truth. Even though they might not want to admit it, you planted that seed, and they're thinking about it.
Well, I was thinking also about the fact that it's a cumulative effect. So if I say one thing, it has a possibility of waking them up. But if that one person hears another person say the exact same thing that I have, then they go, ooh, hold on a second. And then if another person that is not related to the first two people says the exact same thing, that's when you kind of trip over, kind of like you need to hear the same exact thing from at least 3 different sources before it's really, really likely that you'll start to wake up kind of thing. Like, I got told 9/11 was an inside job a number of times before figuring out and seeing the information and starting to research it and seek it for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I was pregnant with my daughter during 9/11, and I was wondering, what the heck am I doing? You know, what am I doing bringing a kid into this world? And just to give you an example of the mind control that's going on, I don't know, I think it was because I was pregnant that my senses were so heightened. You know, I was watching the presidential, dissertation about what 9/11 was and, how he addressed the nation about it. And I noticed that a few times during that broadcast that these Al-Qaeda type images popped up, the kind you'd see where it looked like somebody's about ready to be beheaded, with a big banner hanging in the background. There's little subliminal messages that get pumped into the TV. I saw them. I haven't seen them since. And again, I think I saw them because I was pregnant and my senses were so heightened, But there's this programming that goes on everywhere, and people just don't realize it. It just... They don't realize it. There I go, talking too much again.
I don't think it's possible. That's why he became a radio show host. You listen to the Vinny Eastwood. You listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com.
We love you, Vinny.
Yeah, I love me too. And we'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. I want you to call in now, ladies and gentlemen. The number is 218-339-8525. 218-339-8525. Come on up and talk about whatever you'd like to. Back in a minute. Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models: a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by the VinnyEastwoodShow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinny Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinny is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinny supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit the VinnyEastwoodShow.com and click donate.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the fastest 2 hours in talk radio. It's the Vinny Eastwood Show, New Zealand's number 1 truther talk radio show. Which is funny because there ain't any New Zealand talk radio shows. No, seriously, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody ever wants to have a look at New Zealand talk radio on Radio Live or News Talk ZB or any of the other big, ABC/Fox News clone type news organisations down here, and then you listen to the Vinnie Eastwood show, you're like, holy cow, this is actually way better information with way cooler people, and it ain't got anything to do with what all these other trash are talking about and repeating all day long. It's extraordinarily awesome. Quantitatively more. And that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to have a huge studio. You don't have to have a huge background. You don't have to have massive connections. You don't have to have anything in order to make better material and better content than the mainstream media in your area. The reason why is because they're dumb, they're not that bright, and they're pathetic trash who are vacuous, who care about things that do not matter. People, on the other hand, who are listening in, who do care about things that matter, notice and switch off those things that lie to them, like the mainstream media. And then they find an alternative, like the Vinnie Eastwood Show, like Truth Connections and American Freedom Radio. The mainstream media is dying, people. Get off that sinking ship and get your other people that you know onto these lifeboats of media now as well. Otherwise, they're going to go down with the ship and you'll be left with nothing.
Ship of fools.
But we will still love you when you're drowning and come and save you. Don't worry. We still love you.
Yeah.
And I also want to say,
and if we can't
I'm
save
just
you,
a regular
we'll give you...
person here. Well, go ahead, well, Vinny.
I was just going to say, and if we can't save you, well, at least give it a shot,
Yeah, I mean, anybody can do this. It doesn't take rockets. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I am so technically challenged. I don't Google people. I don't have Google Translate. I don't have spell check on my computer. I'm amazed to this day that I can still get our show live on a weekly basis. I'm so technically challenged. I mean, I'm sitting here on a $25 headset and a $350 laptop trying to make a difference. Anybody can do it. It doesn't take a genius. It really doesn't.
Okay, and Rand, you've been relatively silent this whole time.
Well, actually, Vinny, I'd like to add something to what you spoke about earlier. Since I was kind of close to 9/11, lived about an hour away, and I was actually supposed to be there that day. And I went down 10 days later, and I got as far as Canal Street, which is about 11 blocks away, and I could see what was left of the towers, and it was still on fire and still burning, and we were all just crying in the streets. So I had a lot of angst. So I did hundreds of hours of homework, and I used to just data vomit on my friends. I would grab them and say, "You got it. You need to understand this. It was an inside job," and I would just freak out on people. If I happened to be in a bar on 9/11 and people started talking about it, and I would almost end up in a fight because I would be furious that people had such strong opinions and they didn't have any facts, they didn't have any homework, any due diligence. So it took a while.
Rand was there. I have to say, Rand was there right after it happened.
It was kind of tough. But it took a while for me to really kind of get it in perspective and realize that almost everybody has a seed of doubt in them. And what we're doing is just watering that seed. And like you said earlier, you tell someone about something, and then the second person tells them, they're watering that seed as well. And the third person, and suddenly that seed grows. And now we have somebody who's suddenly questioning and going, wow, I need to go do some homework on that. Watering those seeds, but doing it properly, speaking succinctly, not with a lot of anger, because I was really good at that for a while. I was just flipping out on people and just, like I said, data bombing. Just like, oh my God, the towers were condemned because they were outgassing with asbestos, and Marvin Bush sat on the insurance board that wrote the check that covered the tower's fall, and he also sat on the security company that called off the bomb sniffing dogs. I mean, you could go on for hours with the real data that's out there now about what led up to that false flag incident. So yeah, I just wanted to add that it's about watering those seeds and doing it in a way that's conducive to the muggles, because sometimes it's baby steps. You can't just shock and awe. And I was good at that for a while, and then I learned how to back down and kind of deliver the information a little bit more.
Isn't it ironic?
Humor. So
I'm just saying, isn't it ironic that in order to brainwash somebody with things that are not true, you do it with shock and awe, but in order to wake them up from that, you can't use shock and awe?
Yes.
you got to use humor and love and compassion.
Because
Sure.
it's depressing, right? And people tend to shy away from the things that scare them and the things that make them sad, that kind of thing. And ultimately, it's like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, as Mary Poppins would say.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
And this brings me back into another thing, speaking of Mary Poppins, musicals, right? And we had a caller in a week or two ago saying about how a lot of truthers are actually musical people as well and things like that. And Katherine, you said earlier you wanted to you probably won't be doing this in another 6 months because it is hard work and you'd rather be going up and doing your music. And me personally, I've felt that bug myself, not to want to quit the radio, but to want to do music as well. And I've got a friend who lives a little further north of me who's got a little sound studio that he's made out of egg crates and mattresses and stuff like that. And we go out there and we jam late into the night. And we've found that what we can do is just sit there and come up with stuff off the top of our heads and have it recorded, and then you can simply play back what you've done, transcribe it, and then you can make whole new songs that are well structured in extremely short amounts of time, provided you've simply got the technology there to capture it properly, and then you can come up with a working demo in a number of hours from nothing, and it's been real fun. Because you're starting to realise just how much, if you let the creativity flow, how much you can get accomplished in a short period of time.
Absolutely. And then that's another job I had. I worked in music retail, like a Sam Ash Guitar Center type place for about 4.5 years. And it was a lot of fun. There's nothing that's more satisfying than being creative on any level, really. There's nothing more. And even performing live, not to sound worshipy or anything, but there's nothing more there's the kind of love you feel from an audience that's very happy that you don't feel from any other way in this world. It's almost like you're levitating right there. The energy that's coming at you, it just feeds part of your soul. And why not? You're doing something that's making you happy, making everybody else happy. It's just a win-win situation, It's a lot more fun than working in an office. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's another point that I've found is that I'll never be able to be employed again. It's beneath me.
I understand.
That kind of resonates with the same rationale. It's how can you go back to working for the man once you see how he operates?
And like I was talking about before, I think the whole stock market system needs to go away. I don't think they should be able to do the things that they do. I think the company should go back to rewarding their employees instead of their shareholders for making them rich, because they're the ones that really made them rich, not the shareholders. They should reward their employees and not shareholders.
Well, that's a realization that I had about a year ago, is that the whole mentality of society is work hard and you'll make enough money and you'll eventually be rich someday. No, if you work hard, your boss gets rich and the rest of the money that you earn gets stolen by taxes.
You end up being jaded and very unhappy in the process.
And then, at the end of your working life, when you retire, you suddenly realise that the only thing that provided your social contact in life was your job. And when you don't have one, you suddenly realise, I've wasted my life, and now I'm alone.
Yes, and even going back to being a broker, even though I didn't rip people off or was privy in ripping people off, it started to change who I was. It started to make me too much of a killer, you know what I mean? And just being around those people and their energy. And I did not like that. It started making me, a little aggressive and, a little less empathic, and I didn't like that part about myself. Like I said, even though I didn't rip people off, I noticed that starting to change my effect. I started getting a little more negative, and things like that. And it's definitely not healthy for. That's why so many people die young because they're not happy, because they don't feed their soul. And feeding your soul is so close to consciousness, and feeding your creativity. It's just, I don't think there's anything better really in the world for than music, art, creativity, and having fun. And like you were talking about laughing earlier, Vinny, laughter is the closest thing to our love vibration that we have. And laughter is close to God without anybody freaking out that I'm saying God, or source, or whatever you want to call it. Laughter and joy and grace is what we're here to do. We are here to treat others the way we want to be treated. And I say this quite often when I'm live, but we don't need commandments. We don't need laws. The only thing we need is the universal law. Treat others the way you want to be treated, period. And don't be a bully, because I can't stand bullies, and I will not back down.
Yeah, in the Tom Petty sense of the word.
Absolutely. Good old American musician Tom Petty.
And this brings me into another interesting realization about work, is that, basically, you put your energy into anything you really want to. And so if somebody is directing you to do one way, and they reward you for doing that one way, you'll automatically start to have resonance and think that this is a good way to do it because I see palpable rewards, things like that. But the problem is you don't see the consequences of your actions beyond that. Like you, Katherine, I was in a very hard killer situation, never screwed over anybody, and in some cases you become a very skilled manipulator where you can lie to people simply because they simply won't believe the truth that as you're telling it to them. And you only do that so that you can give them something that that they need, that that will help them, even if they're not entirely full awareness of it. And that's the only times when I ever bended the truth, is if I knew that it would actually help the person that I was with, and that they would realize it as soon as it happened, and would be grateful for it. Anything that was even mildly non-beneficial for the client and things like that, I would simply go, you know what? I can't give you anything better than you got. I can show you these people over here who are not affiliated with me or my company or anything like that, who actually can give you a better deal than what you've got right now. This was just doing phone conversations, doing telesales, selling people new broadband packages and toll calling and stuff like that. The whole ANTT type telemarketer thing. And I got so good at it. I was the number one salesperson on the top of the boards for a full 6 months. There was not a single person in a whole 6 months of working 5 days a week that even came close to beating my sales that were on there daily.
I can believe that, Vinny.
And it's if you have a look at my call sheets, when you highlighted, we had these big stacks of sheets kind of thing with people's numbers, and you would see every second number was highlighted. That's somebody that I sold. I had a 50% strike record. So half the time that somebody was actually there to pick up the phone, I'd be able to sell them on something. And it was because I'm capable of projecting my honesty and forging a relationship without much background kind of thing, because I'm so genuine straight off the bat. The difficulty is, if you're in a market like that, you will be exposed to the way other people do it, who are not quite so genuine, who are not quite
and their energy.
Exactly. And you realize that, oh my God, I'm the only person in this whole frickin' company of like 300-400 employees and only 2 floors in one building that actually values the customer more than my job.
How dare you, Vinny? You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's not corporate America.
And so I was like, holy cow, I'm going to stop this. Here's the company. The company's treating its employees like crap. It's treating its customers like crap. It's running inefficiently. They're training programs. They've got staff retention that's worse than a communist manifesto party with constant revolutions going on. It's insane. So I came up with a 7-page essay about what was wrong with the company. And so they called in this big board meeting. We had the bosses and all of that kind of stuff in there. We're like, yep, reading through it. Get to about page 2. Then the boss gets a text on his cell phone. He's like, oh, okay, I don't have time for this. I'm out of here. And nothing happens. And I asked him, what's going on? What's going on with all these points that I've read up? And he says, as far as I'm concerned, the issue is closed. And a day or two later, my boss comes down to me and says, hey, Vinny, let's go next door and have a coffee. Slaps a piece of paper down in front of me. And I go, well, what's this piece of paper? He goes, sign it. I go, what's on it? He says, well, basically, we'll pay you 6 weeks of your normal salary to leave in the next 5 minutes, and never tell people the company that you work for. And I was like, whoa, I haven't had a summer holiday in a while. Hell yeah! And I'll take the money and I'll get the hell out of there.
I wasn't happy anyway.
It was one
your
of
own little Jerry Maguire moment.
And I enjoyed that summer vacation ad infinitum. But you know, it's just the funny thing. In the corporate structure, if you're a psychopath and you don't give a flying frack about anybody else but yourself and the bottom line, you will advance right to the top. If you can advance right to the top via honesty, you will be subverted by the psychopaths who want to get there before you do. We'll be right back after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models, a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
I take my anger to a place that ain't gonna get up in your face. The facts we okay, but the system fails. We got to change the way we see the problem if we're gonna fix this place. My living soul don't care about the color of your face.
Welcome back.
And respect our right to live here.
You listen to the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live 5 days a week on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. A lot of people talk about the whole argument about quality over quantity, and I don't know, I say why not both? Have huge amounts of guests as well as huge amounts of really cool ones. Anybody got a problem with that? I hope not.
Not at all.
Yeah. We've got very cool guests here today, Katherine and Rand from Truth Connections. And what did you actually start off with doing Truth Connections? Like, did you get offered a show, or did people encourage you to do one, or what?
Well, that's just it. Once I went to YouTube University and saw the MK Ultra Mind stuff, I was blown away. And an ex of mine, who is also my Facebook friend, Marco, is a filmmaker, and I called him and I was like, you've got to make a movie about this. This is insane. I can't believe this is out there. Nobody knows what they're doing. You know, and he didn't have the resources at the time. He was working on a lot of other projects at the time. He goes, you know what you have to do, Kathy? You should get on Facebook. And I was like, you know, you're such a dork. Why would I want to get on Facebook? You know, but he's not a dork of any kind. So I took his advice, and you know, I've only been on Facebook a couple years, and it just seemed to snowball from there very organically. You know, we like Rand said before, we meet people, we meet each other. This was not my intention. initially, although, I have all the hardware from my life to do this in past experience and whatnot, I had no idea that this is what I would be doing from now, a couple of years ago. I just wanted to raise awareness, however I could, So it was a really cool thing to actually interview Duncan O'Finioan and Miranda Kelly. It came full circle for me, to have that kind of moment live, because they're one of the catalysts to get me where I am here. As for, my knowledge and wanting to make a difference, I just couldn't believe after I learned that all the other injustices I believed and saw that was true. It just snowballed from there. But both of them are really special to me. I really love them a lot, and I love everybody that's been on the show. I mean, Santos, I can't love him enough. He's just so great. Santos took us up a notch, and I really respect him and value him for that. And we started off with Susan Lindauer, and we've had amazing guests, ever since then. I'm very grateful, and I've got to believe that we're doing something right, is all I have to say. And every time before we do a show, Vinny, sounds hokey, but I draw up a protection circle around me. I protect with a violet flame. I protect with a purple bubble. And I ask all my deceased relatives to help me, guide me, my spirit guides, my ET family that watches over me. I ask them to help me. So I ask the right questions and, raise awareness for humanity as best as I can. And it sounds silly, but that's what I do before every show.
Hey,
I ask for help.
Whatever tickles your pickle.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And speaking of pickles that get tickled, I was saying before about how hard it is doing the radio shows and stuff like that, and I explained over the break that for me it's actually not that hard at all. It's very easy and it comes very naturally. And I'd say that in the beginning, it was a little bit more difficult because I didn't have methodologies in place. So, for instance, when you want to interview somebody, when I was starting off, I'd have to type out this email and go, "Hello, I'm Vinny Eastwood," and explain who I am and send them a link and this kind of stuff. And then I realised, hold on a second. Every time I go and interview somebody, I'll be sending them pretty much the same thing. Why would I spend half an hour typing out an interview request individually every single time? So I go and I create a template that has my website, the Listen Live channels, the list of AM/FM affiliates, tell them what I do with a little bit of humour and how I want to give them coverage on the international side. And so when any guest that the audience wants me to interview, I need an email address, and that is the only thing that I need. Automatic interview request, boom, boom, boom. So I've reduced the amount of time that I spend requesting people for interviews from, on average, 30 minutes each to less than 30 seconds each. So that allows me to free up an awful lot of time for other things. And also, once you have a guest say, yes, I want to be interviewed, then they're going to ask a whole lot of questions. Like, for example, do I come in the studio? Am I on by phone? Am I on by Skype? Am I on by this? Am I on by that? Where is it broadcasted? How do we do this? What time is it? What date? Yada, yada, yada. So again, I created a simple interview confirmation email format that has the schedule, how to set up the Skype, requesting things from them like pictures so that we can put them up on the archives later. You foresee all the things that you're going to have to go through again and again, and through the magic of copy paste. And I have to ensure people that copy pasting is the ultimate time saver, and time is the only resource that is very, very limited for you. So you've got to figure out, if you can, how to save time doing things. So there's that. And the rest of it is just basically putting the work and the hours in after the shows are over to archive them, do a little bit of quick editing programs and things like that, which I've also developed little templates for to save time. So overall, I've managed to, in a year or two of having this radio format on AmericanFreedomRadio.com, I've developed a methodology that will allow me to do everything that normally would take an entire production team by myself in about half the time that the entire production team would take.
You do a lot on your own, Vinny. You really do. And I'm very grateful that Tamara, Rand, and I have this little triad, because Tamara does all that stuff, and, it really makes a difference. We all seem to complement what one of us has or doesn't have, and it works that way. And I'm very grateful that I have a team, quote unquote, that helps me with this, so I don't have to do all that stuff. I network and find guests, and then I turn them over to Tamara to finalize the booking, and Rand looks for people too, and Tamara does too. I mean, it just seems to work out, and we don't care if somebody has a big draw, like, say, as Leo Zagami, who we've had on the show, has, I think to this date, had the most YouTube hits. We don't care if someone has a big draw, or if they're a new scientist like Jason Verbelli. It's all about the information. We gravitate towards who we resonate with. It doesn't matter if they're a superstar or not, although I have a list of superstars that I would love to get on the show, and maybe they will come on the show. If they don't, that's okay too. People are going to come to us who resonate with us, and if they don't, they won't, and that's just the way it is. I think everything happens for a reason, and nothing is a mistake. It all kind of divinely plays out, as I like to say.
The universe provides. You ever hear people say that phrase
Yes.
with you?
Yes.
Oh, it's constant with me.
If you do the right thing. The biggest thing that, if I could say anything to me is, or to anyone else out there, is protect your soul and spread love. Your soul and your honor and love is the most valuable thing that you should cherish right now, and not let anybody taint it. And your integrity. It's very important.
Yeah, you become who you associate with, particularly in the truth movement that's infiltrated totally with COINTELPRO and what have you. Once you gain any kind of reputation, it becomes something that you have to protect in a lot of ways.
From psychic attack and people wanting to knock you down from the pretend post that they think you're on. Sometimes I feel so much energy being whacked at me, Vinny. I feel like somebody's just waiting for me to screw up. That's the kind of energy, just waiting for me to screw up so they can tarnish my name. And I won't let them, because, I will go toe-to-toe with them if they try.
Have you ever done that?
Because I know thyself, know thyself. Very important.
I don't know, and I think also supplementary to that, doubt thyself. Don't be too sure of thyself, and don't take thyself too frackin' seriously.
and remain humble. Remain humble. It's very important to me. And the best compliment someone can give me, and I've heard it before, is you let people talk that come on your show. And any of my friends who know me knows the hardest thing for me to do is shut up. I just want to talk all the time. So it's been an exercise to me to just sit quietly and let people talk. And it's one of the greatest compliments someone can give me is that I let people talk. Because if you let people talk and don't try to steer the conversation for your agenda, they will tell you things that that you might be surprised of. But if you don't, they will clam up and just give you the cliff notes.
That's the whole planning process in a nutshell. Synchronicity is unplanned. And so, ergo, whenever you've got a plan, you are automatically bypassing and refusing to accept any possible synchronicities. Hey, maybe we should stop off at that gas station. They looks like they've got a really interesting shop with some stuff in it. No, we're sticking to the plan.
Yes, absolutely. Just be honorable, man. Just be honorable. Be nice. Everybody's got a story. Be nice.
Yeah, and you got to give what you got. But I don't know about you, but I have many, many friends in my past. I don't really have any of these friends now, by which I will bend over backwards to try and help them and try to give them a hand and try to help them develop in life, and they don't go anywhere because they don't really care about their life. They don't. They're blinded, and they think that being miserable is a part of life, and they don't want to be happy. They've made a conscious decision that it's actually a lot easier and a lot less effort to be miserable than it is to try and be happy. And that just, I'm not friends with any of those people anymore. They're energy They are energy vampires, okay? And the thing about energy vampires is you have to invite them in.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they don't see that all this terrible stuff that happens to them in life is a lesson. And they're going to keep getting faced with that same drama until they learn the lesson and don't want to revisit it again. Until they learn the lesson, it's going to keep happening. Period.
I look at it like an obstacle course, a military obstacle course, like in boot camp. And you know how and one of the obstacles is a huge wall that's got no handholds or anything like that, and you've got to be able to jump up, grab yourself, and pull yourself over that wall. Otherwise, you have to keep repeating the course until you do. That's what all these traumas in our life really are. They're these walls that we can't get over, and you will not complete the course, and you will not finish basic training until you're able to get over those walls. And that's why people keep repeating all these terrible things that happen to them.
Yes. And another thing that Facebook has taught me, and probably a lot of other people, was not to come from ego. Because, the Kathy Buckalew that was me a few years ago, if somebody said something negative on one of my posts, I would have been like, I don't think so, Tim, and come from ego. But it has shown me to question myself before I respond to those people and say, wait a minute, am I responding to them from ego, or am I responding to them because they really could use a little smack upside the head?
I would say something.
Do they really deserve it?
I would say something more clinical. It's the fight or flight mechanism, the reptilian brain, the responses that you get out of your sort of background of your mind. And here's how you can tell whether or not you're having a psychological just ping response or what. Just think about this for a second. You ever said something to somebody that was real nasty, real flying off the handle or something like that, and you know that if you'd taken 10 seconds just to kind of calm yourself and just take a few deep breaths, would you have responded differently? If you would not have responded if you didn't respond differently, had you calmed down a bit, then what you're putting forward is an actual response that is based upon your thinking and logic. If you would say something differently, on the other hand, you're simply lashing out.
Absolutely.
Because you feel threatened.
Right.
And
fear.
I've had that exact same thing. But I'm different to a lot of people. I always have been my entire life. There really ain't anybody like me that I've met so far that is similar to the extent that in all the eccentric ways that I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm an enigma, and I baffle myself as well. But the whole idea is, I come from the school of thought that if you're real awesome, don't deny your awesomeness. Embrace it, okay? Because I've known so many people who are better actors than me, better speakers, better thinkers, who instead of embracing what they do and becoming grandiose and trying to do a lot of good in the world, they just drink themselves into a stupor, smoke like a goodness knows how much grass a day, and living in a bus, telling the world how superior they are to everybody else.
Right. It's a lot of it goes all back to ego, Vinny. And I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, because I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else is. I still have issues to work on about myself, and but the difference is I know that, and I recognize what my flaws a lot more because I know myself more, and I try to come at people or come at myself in a different way, more loving way, than an egotistical way, a reptilian way.
Yeah, indeed. And it's the lower base instincts and stuff like that. If you let those govern you, you're an animal. If you're capable of differentiating your reptilian brain from your brain and your mind and your heart and your soul, you'll be all right. We'll be right back after the break. Final segment with Katherine Buckalew.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinnie Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore. A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinny is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinny supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnyeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models: a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by theVinnyEastwoodShow.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoy this radio program as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. And bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you are the primary workers here at the Vinny Eastwood Show. I have no idea who my guests are from day to day. You are the ones that send me the emails, that send me the websites, that send me the contact information, who result in people coming on this show. That's another part of the reason of reducing your workload, is that if you have access to an audience, it's much easier for 100 members of the audience to just suggest one guest each than it is for me to research and go and find 100 guests by myself. So I am eternally in your debt, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to always remember how important you are to me and this show and the continuing movement to get the truth out, whatever that truth might be. Katherine Buckalew, the Buckaroo, and Rand Porter. In fact, I'm going to make a little comedy sketch. I'm going to send that over to my man Roy, and I'm going to.
It's okay. With my last name, I'm used to hearing Buckaroo, Buttafuoco, Buckster. I'm used to hearing it all. Don't worry about it.
Like Buckminster in the Buckalew Finster Miller sense of the word, or Buckminster Fuller sense of the word. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking, you know how your dad was like an Eagle Scout or whatever the thing. Could you make up like a little Katherine Buckalew Buckaroos, you know, a little Eagle Scout troop? That'd be fun.
I was a Girl Scout. I was a Girl Scout brownie and an Indian princess, so
yeah.
That's the part that rubbed off on me from him.
Hopefully not.
You know,
hopefully it didn't rub off on you in the Catholic sense of the word.
Hey, my mother's sister is still a Franciscan nun, so they tried. You know, they tried to make me take that wafer every Sunday. I've been there, did that.
I was more talking about in the choir boy sense of the word, but never mind. We also wanted to get into. We also wanted to talk about, usually on the last segment of the show, if there's anything that you is of a personal opinion to you that you kind of like to express that you don't normally otherwise, because people kind of don't get it because it's a little out there for them or whatever. I like to offer people the opportunity, particularly radio show hosts, to come on here and just talk about whatever they would like.
Well, since you're giving me that time, that's really cool, Vinny. I would like to tell everyone to please, we don't have sign up for our YouTube channel, Truth Connections on YouTube, and share the links. Get us some more hits. Get the information out there. It's not about the hits with us, really. It's about waking people up and getting the information out there. We stand for, exposing the Illuminati, ending mind control, UFO disclosure, free energy, you know, stopping pedophilia in the churches and various other organizations, for bringing for food being healthy for us all, and occupying Monsanto and ending the FFDA and how they do things, the Fed, the electoral process, and every other 3 or 4 letter agency that lies to us needs to be exposed and stopped, and we definitely need your help to do that. And please feel free to join our Truth Connections page on Facebook, and you can check out some of our archives on YouTube, Blog Talk Radio, or at the truthconnections.wordpress.com website. We value everyone's time, and we're really grateful when you do come and listen to a live show or share our video. We know you can be doing anything else, and we're honored that you chose to come and hang out with us for that 2-hour time slot every week. And I also want to tell everybody to please join a meditation group, because the power of meditation groups is a pretty amazing thing. I've actually been doing a weekly meditation with the CE5 Global Initiative, and that's when you actually meditate and I'm going to go on a limb here. People might think I'm weird. Meditate and you communicate with the extraterrestrial intelligence. Vinny, I have heard them during these meditations. I have felt them working on me, and it's pretty amazing. I don't believe, anyone who's died in our lives, or an ET, or anybody we were in a past life, by way of a spirit guide or something, they're all with us all the time, and all we have to do is ask for help, and they will help us. It's when you die, you don't go away forever. You're just your energy is everything. It does not go away. You are now multi-dimensional. And that's how I explained multi-dimensional to my daughter. Is Santa Claus. How does Santa Claus get to go everywhere in one night? Because he's multi-dimensional, just like Papa. Because Papa passed on, he can be everywhere at once, and that is the one lie that my daughter is quite the little truther, but I have not been able to come clean with her about the Santa Claus lie yet. I just can't break her heart like that, That's my little white lie about the truth movement to my own daughter, but just can't take some of that magic away for the kids. It's not fair. Because they've got enough magic taken away. They can't even trick or treat by themselves. When I was a kid, we'd go trick or treating for 5 hours and never come back, till dark. And and my daughter's 10. At her age, I was doing that with my friends from the neighborhood. Kids can't do that anymore. A lot of the magic is gone, And even though I don't always agree with some of these holidays that they do, it's just hard to take that one little last magic away from them of Santa coming and having gifts under the tree at the last minute, because they don't know what that's for. It's just all magic to them. They don't know what the real meaning is. Let them have some magic while they're young. They get faced with enough these days. It's not fair. But that's what I have to say. Join a meditation group. Be nice.
I just started one. Starts this Thursday. That's interesting, Kat. You said that, Kat.
Cool.
So Rand, same opportunity for you. Have you got anything real spaced out and far out? Some advice you wanted to share with people?
Sure. I think for me, from all the amazing things I'm getting from the show and what I'm learning from doing the research, it's about free energy. I think it's it's time that it's not held captive by the elite, and I feel the patent process has been co-opted on a global scale. So unfortunately, it's blocked at every level. So all these amazing minds who invent these free energy devices, and they're coming out of everywhere now. They either get killed or bought off or silenced or suicided. So because they want credit for what they've invented, but I kind of feel that most of these inventions are actually reinventions, because I'm kind of aware that most of this tech is already exists underground. They're just making sure it never makes it above ground. So really, free energy needs to be free, which means some of these guys got to just give it to the people. And I'm actually working on a couple of projects. I'm working with someone on an over Unity laser project, and on my own personal thing, I'm building a organ-based device that incorporates some scalar energy that's hopefully going to negate these smart meters. So we're looking to hopefully get those out. But it's about making the energy available to everybody, because that's the whole basis for this paradigm of lies, is paying for energy that should be free. Kathy had a good point about meditation circle, because I'm working with 10 people, and I'm calling my circle an ascension circle, an ascension meditation group, because we're working on ourselves as a group to enhance our own abilities, so then we can turn around and help others. When you get to a certain level, then you have more ability to help others. So, and I think 10 people who are energetic and aware of their energy, who have owned their energy, can, when they combine their energies, it's like the energy of 1,000. So, and I've seen some really interesting confluences to show that that's actually the truth. So I'm really excited about this group. Our first meeting is this Thursday, to see what comes of it, and to see who shows up and who commits to it, and where we go when we combine our energies. So it's all about energy. Well, getting it out there to the people. We actually want to disseminate to intentional communities as well. Once we get some of these free energy devices working, rather than bring it to the patent office or bring it to the people, to the public, we're going to bring it to the people by trying to disseminate it quietly to intentional communities, so they can just use it and incorporate it, and then start to let word of mouth, grassroots style, get it out to the people. So hopefully that kind of rationale will start to work, because you can't go get a patent. You'll be dead. That's kind of what we've been shown. So that's my passion, is free energy.
Yeah, the patent process is definitely tainted, Rand. You're right about that.
And I have to give Jason Verbelli props. He's definitely a very well-spoken young man, and he has a bright future, because he's very brilliant, and he's definitely getting the word out, as well as Fernando Vasa. So
love him. Love them both.
Two great guests we've had in
Absolutely.
the energy sector.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for your time today. If you'd like to just quickly give out your websites and such like that. Unfortunately, we've kind of come to the end of the show.
And there you have it. Okay, if anybody wants to friend me on Facebook, just look up Kathy Buckalew on Facebook. And it's weird to say my name, because I don't even say my name live. It's kind of odd to say my name, because I don't care about saying my name. I just care about the truth. It's not about who I am. It's about the truth. Feel free to friend me, Tamara Natividad, or Rand Porter on Facebook, and join our YouTube channel, please, because if we upload a video, it'll get sent right to you. Thanks a lot, Vinny, and I want to thank Liza one more time for bringing me to your table.
Yeah.
Thanks
you, Liza.
Thank you, Vinny, and thank American Freedom Radio.
Rock on, man, rock on.
Oh, totally. Give the horns and the big ups to American Freedom Radio at every conceivable opportunity.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for having us.
It's an honor. Yes.
All right, guys.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your stories with us. You can check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Just search for Truth Connections on Facebook. And I'll put that up on the archives as well, so they shouldn't be too difficult to look up. And also remember, ladies and gentlemen, after the show every day we have a Skype chat with the listeners, so if you add me on Skype, I will give you the details in the Vinny Eastwood Show chat room, so you can talk with fellow truthers from all over the world. We'll see you again sometime.